Clementine.
Hi, Merle.
Carl.
Maggie.
No takers? Fine, but get one thing straight. You're staying. This isn't a democracy anymore. If you recognise those quotes, you'll know they're from the TV show The Walking Dead, which is the theme of this week's episode. We're both fans, aren't we, really, David?
Yeah, definitely. I also read the comics illegally online, but same difference.
Oh yeah, I read the physical comics, but I forgot where I got up to, and that must have been about 10 years ago now. And then the shows started and nearly finished in that time.
Yeah, do you know? I didn't even realize it was it's coming up for a final season.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's not. I think the one coming up now, which I think is only a few weeks away, that's the last ever series, and will hopefully have a very good ending.
Wow, jeez. So I suppose we should early doors. If you're not fully up to date with The Walking Dead, a chance of spoilers.
Yeah, that's true. We don't often include spoiler alerts either because we don't care or it's not necessary. It
Well,
might be a bit of the two, but
normally not that current, are we? I think we.
no.
So I think we'll try and avoid giving away like huge plot points, I guess. But if you haven't watched bits from like 2013, it's probably your own fault now.
Yeah, I mean, I can't help but think that, as we've said so many times before, it's not been as good for a long time. So I'm mostly going to reference very old episodes.
Me too. Maybe we. Do you know what? Let's get rid of that spoiler tag in the edit, and when we've both used exclusively season 1 and 2 characters.
There's a good chance. I think I've only got one character in my list that's not from the first few series.
I'm pretty sure we've got the same person.
We've probably got the full 11 exactly the same, but that's okay. Should we start, as we always do, with manager?
Sounds a good idea to me.
Do you have any thoughts on that straight away?
Straight away, was just going to go, because I think he's a calming influence. I was gonna plump for Herschel.
You know what? I was thinking Herschel. I had him down as like an assistant, but I do think maybe he is the leader, isn't he?
Yeah, he felt like it, particularly like around the prison part as well. I felt like he really was feeling like a coach. Although I will say, like, I could also see him in kind of like a mentorship capacity, because he did feel a bit like that with Rick.
Yeah. Well, I originally had him as manager, and then I moved into assistant because I thought, well, it was only really to squeeze the governor in as manager, but he wouldn't be a very good manager. He'd be more of like a Luciano Spalletti and just fall out with everybody. So it wouldn't really be that much use. The governor can wait for the starting 11 and see if he makes it. In terms of assistant, actually, you know who'd be perfect assistant, and he's actually my favourite character in the whole show.
Go on.
We could have Dale Horvath. Because he's a proper man manager.
Yeah.
And actually, the two did meet because it was around the time of the farm, which that was Herschel's farm, and Dale was still knocking about then. But yeah, he was by far my favourite character because he looked after like the whole group, and he was just kind of like an aging man dressed like he was going on holiday, on top of his RV with a sniper rifle. I remember he used to get a lot of shit from other characters because he sort of saved them from getting killed, and they sort of were happy to be killed, and that was kind of like it was sort of a sad thing to be blamed for. But he was such a good character. So I think personally, Herschel manager, Dale assistant. In terms of goalkeeper, I haven't actually even thought of that position, as always.
Yeah, tricky. It's hard to place goalies for this one. Few options. I thought we could maybe go for anyone who stands on the gate at Alexandria would have made a decent choice.
Yeah, true.
But then they're sort of slightly less interesting, I guess. I have got one, but I actually can't remember the character's name. It's just come to me now. But so that's good. But he's played by Iron E. Singleton. Is it T-Bone?
Oh, T-Dog.
T-Dog.
Yeah, I think T-Dog would be good because he's quite sort of tactile. He's quite, I think he'd get stuck in.
There's a bit. I'm sure there's a bit at the prison where he's on a gate and he holds off walkers and various other things.
Yeah,
with quite high level of skill. So
I might be misremembering or kind of like making myself remember it so it works, but I do feel like there's a bit where he's jumping about the place a lot. So
why not?
He definitely won gloves at least once.
Yeah, great. I mean, I'm game for T-Dog in goal.
Brilliant. In terms of formation, God knows. I'm trying to think what's kind of like a apocalyptic style formation, but I'm not really sure what that would look like.
I mean, I feel like it should be 6-6-6, but it doesn't.
No,
there's too many players.
We could have really defensive. Well, to be fair, I think that they spend a lot of the time defending because they're trying not to die. So maybe we could have a 5 at the 5, or maybe even 6 at the back. My maths aren't that good. What does that leave us with?
We'd end up with sort of like a 6-3-1.
Yeah, 6-3-1 or a 6-2-2.
Wow.
Okay, maybe
5-3-2. Let's go 5-3-2.
Yeah, go 5-3-2. Okay, well, actually, I've already got one thought in my head that we need to have. I think is kind of like a centre back partnership, and that was I was thinking of having, although it's kind of dysfunctional, having the Dixon brothers, Daryl and Merle, next to each other.
Perfect.
Because they're, I mean, it's kind of like it's Phil and Gary Neville all over again. One will end up captain in Everton, and the other will end up being weirdly likable. That's kind of what happened, but then he did. I mean, Merle didn't go to Everton, but no spoiler over what actually happened. He's obviously dead. They're all dead. That's how the show goes.
They're all dead and they're all walking. What don't you get about that?
Yeah. But Daryl goes on to be likable, so I suppose he'd be like the Gary Neville of the two. But needless to say, that's them. That's 2 out of 5.
My recommendation for a centre back.
Yeah.
Because he's one of my favourites, would be good old Tyrese.
Yeah, true. Yeah, no, definitely.
I think there's strength at the back there. He's athletic. It's nice to fill a team of nice people. I just think Tyrese. I've got a feeling basically because he didn't kill a guy when he had an opportunity, but we all thought he did.
Oh, yeah.
I've got a feeling he'd be like a bit Maldini-ish in the way he could just like take the ball, no foul, just take the ball. He's Maldini, not Chiellini.
Yeah, and also, I mean, he's clearly very well balanced because I'm sure he spent like a whole series with a baby on his back.
Yeah,
which is just insane because he didn't seem to even notice half the time. He knew it was there, obviously, but like you'd never have known. So he's clearly strong, but also compassionate.
Great, let's get him in.
So that's the back. That's the back 3.
Yeah. Wing backs.
I think maybe left. I think left back. I feel like Glenn kind of suits that.
Yeah.
Pacey, because there's not going to be any sort of like wing play in this team. So I think we're going to have to. He's going to be the widest for the left anyway. But he's obviously quick and he's very good at avoiding. There's lots of times the first couple of series where he went out to kind of scavenge and would somehow avoid all the zombies. And he really taught Rick how to do that. I suppose in my head, he'd be like a bit of like an Andy Robertson running around the place constantly. Yeah,
happy with that. I mean, I love the character.
Yeah. For right back, well, the right centre back. Do you have any thoughts for that?
Who have I got?
There's so many good characters, and it's very hard to know how we're going to fit them all in, which is quite sad, really. I've got so many. I've got to 3 pages worth, and I just know they're not all going to fit. But that's the game. We'll have to have a second team eventually.
Don't all these second teams. I'm very much I was thinking I was going to go a bit niche.
Okay.
Well, I don't know if I want to use this one here though. Okay, so I think we can only do one of these weird picks, maybe. But I was looking towards the Walking Dead Telltale game.
You know what? Before we were recording, I said to you that I had a loophole that I was going to exploit, and that was what it was.
No way.
You beat me to it. I did have both Lee and Clementine written down, but I thought I'll only pick one.
I would have suggested Lee. The other option I had was putting Kenny somewhere up front. I've got no idea why, but I loved Kenny.
King Kenny.
I just bloody loved Kenny, and I thought, you know what? I'm sure at some point he encourages you to shoot, or is quite a sharp shooter himself. And I just thought, stick him up top; he'll probably score some goals. So I was going with King Kenny.
Yeah, there is. I actually, when I wrote those two down, I did sort of like see, because obviously the Telltale series is from so long ago. Well, the first one is, and it's actually like weirdly quite upsetting how the whole thing plays out.
Yeah.
But actually I've done all of the Clementine ones now, because I did a New Frontier last year, and I think that's like the third or fourth. But I don't think you ever get as attached to characters as much as you do with Lee and Kenny. And Kenny is like you expect to get attached to Lee, but you never think you're going to get attached to Kenny. But he's I think I chose every option where he just kept hold of the baby you find.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I trust Kenny. Just keep it with Kenny. Because there's actually the bit. This is a spoiler for the Telltale series now. Let's just spoil everything. But there's one where they get to like a massive camp, and right at the end of the series, you can choose whether he leaves the baby with this camp where they'll obviously be looked after and safer, or you look after him as Kenny. And I said no, Kenny should keep him because
I think I did the same.
Yeah,
big Kenny stan.
I'm happy to put Kenny up front.
Great.
It's one of the, it's like we're always going to have a Telltale heart pick, so let it be him.
And then just because we're coming to the end of the Telltale bit, should I do my Lee saying Clementine thing?
Yeah.
Clementine! Let's move on.
That brings back really sad memories of that series.
Yeah, it's all fine. It's all fine. Just embrace the hurt, let it in. It's all fine. Clementine! Right, okay, I'm out. It's out of my system now.
So what positions have we got left, actually? We've got one up front.
All the midfield.
Okay.
And then we've got a spot at the back. I'm not sure whether it's a centre-back or a wing-back, to be honest.
Oh, it's the right back, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
So we need somebody who can run a bit. But I was thinking the approach that you tend to have like a quick, thin, tall fullback, and then like a shorter, tough guy fullback. Like the difference between kind of like an Alphonso Davies and like a Patrice Evra, where it's like you've got like the tall, skinny, attacking fullback, and then the kind of shorter, tough guy fullback who's probably more likely to stay back than go forward. So I was kind of thinking maybe, and obviously there's a lot of options with this, but maybe somebody like Abraham would be good, just for like someone who's just going to go in on tackles, who you can trust.
Sergeant Abraham Ford, my absolute favourite character.
I was going to say that as well, because I know he's your favourite character. He's got to be somewhere.
Yeah, I'm more than happy with Abraham Ford getting in. I loved him when he joined. I think it's the iconic ginger mustache. And he's pretty cool. Like, he's cool in comic, he's cool in TV show. He's since gone on to direct some episodes as well, hasn't he? Which, I mean, again, isn't the character. But yeah, I think Michael Cudlitz does direct.
I didn't know that.
The episodes. So, like, just a really cool dude. He was my phone background for a bit. Just loved him. Still love him.
So, so what have we gone for? We've gone for a 5-3-2. 5-3-2. So, well, I was thinking kind of midfield. I feel like you sort of need that. I know we've already got a really defensive team, but I feel like you need like a bulldog in midfield, like a Roy Keane type. So I was automatically I'm thinking Shane.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, he's a real swine in the whole show.
Yeah.
And I know we've said we'll spoil some of it. He does die in it, and it's one of those things where I remember thinking, like, I was really happy that they killed him off because he was so horrible the whole time. But he was such a good character at the same time, because he really respected Rick despite like betraying him at every possible opportunity.
Yeah.
So I was thinking him. In terms of the other two, I'm not certain, but I do feel like we have to fit Rick in somewhere, but that could still be up front.
Yeah, I think Rick is a definite pick, obviously because it rhymes, it's true.
Yeah.
Other options, I was thinking maybe you definitely want a leader in the center of the park, and I got a couple of options there, but maybe we have to pick one from. You could have Maggie.
Yeah.
She's a strong old character as well. I mean, and has fantastic leadership credentials and the most brilliant accent of all. You could go Ezekiel, because I'm quite partial to the kingdom. I think the kingdom's quite a fun aspect of it. You could go for the tiger from the kingdom.
I think that's probably the saddest bit of the whole show.
Yeah,
that was too much.
I mean, we've already got a bulldog in midfield, so maybe not. But we did touch on the governor earlier as being a bit of a hard, no nonsense bloke.
Yeah,
maybe it's too much. Maybe it's too much of players that will kick the shit out of you.
And it's and I really like. There's so many I want to fit in. I think maybe it's tough because I feel like I want to fit Carol in somewhere as well because I feel like she's in so much of it. But like, there's so many of those episodes where it's just about Carol and not much happens that I kind of feel bitter and twisted towards the character now. And
she's a fantastic actress, though.
Oh yeah, but I think Maggie in midfield. I think she's the type. Maybe you wouldn't give her the armband straight away, but you'd realise that she's the right captain.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and her dad's the manager as well, so we've got like a
nepotism.
Yeah, it's like a Johan and Jordi Cruyff situation, isn't it? It's a Sir Alex and a Darren Ferguson, only she'll actually be good. That's all fine. Harry and Jamie Redder, stop. We should get
not really.
We should get Rick out the way, I guess, shouldn't we?
Yeah, we probably should.
He's in the team. Rick's in the team, if only for Coral and the memes that it spawned. And also because, like, to be honest, he was my interest dropped off a cliff once Rick went downstream.
Yeah, literally as well.
Yes. So I sort of think like he's a huge part of the show. We've got to have him in there somewhere. It's just whether he goes in as a midfielder or a striker, and it's probably based on his proficiency with a pistol. Probably gets in up top.
That's a good point, actually. I think in my head I had, and it's tough because obviously we can't have both now, but I had either like Michonne up front for kind of like, cutting through a defence, say. Or Negan just for like a proper like bulldog striker.
Negan with Lucille.
Yeah.
Means he's good at striking with. I mean, we saw he was good at striking with a bat.
Yeah. Well, he definitely did that Nike ID and have Lucille as one of his shoes.
Yeah.
We've all made Nike ID boots and never bought them, but he'd buy them. I feel like he'd be one of them where like, he's like going grey, but he still goes to five-a-side and he's still like the best player there.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's hard because especially The Walking Dead, one of its kind of selling points is how many strong female characters it has. So it does feel wrong to only include one. So I do feel very, very guilty, and I'm not sure what to do.
I know. I'm sort of now looking at the team sheet, and there's quite they're iconic though.
Yeah.
But there's one character that's probably like not iconic that we could kind of shuffle out. Bench. Maybe put him on the coaches. Maybe T-Dog, especially being as I couldn't quite remember his name.
Oh yeah.
Maybe in goal we can shuffle some stuff about. I mean, I think it's a shame to not have. It's definitely we've got to have Michonne in there.
Yeah. Iconic character, really.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Katana Sword's got a new lease of life because of that character.
Everyone on my street's got one.
Yeah.
Kids are out there just slashing away.
You live on like Moss Side. So who are moving to back in goal?
I think probably Tyrese or Abraham probably ends up back in goal. Unless you want to go for like Negan keeper.
I'm weirdly tempted by Negan just because of the kind of the mental aspect where I feel like he'd stare you out and you just mess it up. Like I don't think he'd be that good, but he'd just be in your head the whole time.
And we have seen again, like most of his feats have been hand-based feats. I mean, bat-based.
Yeah. Yeah, true. True.
Hand-based feats is also a word that a turn of phrase that sounds definitely incorrect. But okay, let's slap Negan in goal.
Yeah.
Everyone else stays where they are, and then it's just where we position Rick, where we put Michonne. If she can slice through a defense, maybe she's in like a bit of a cam spot.
Yeah, I think she'd be like a bit of like a Marcel Sabitzer and just be like trying to curl the ball in at every opportunity and being really precise, but kind of having shots here and there, but kind of being proficient in midfield as well. So she stays in midfield, and then that means that Rick is kind of like he's kind of the striker who has the armband, and he's kind of the guy you rely on, and he's sort of the iconic one club man. Totty up front, looks similar but has like a really mucky looking beard. And him next to Kenny, I could see working.
Yeah, I like it. Should we do a couple of honourable mentions? I feel like we've both probably got some left in the tank just to.
Yeah, true. There's so many.
I thought about the genius of Eugene in midfield.
True. Yeah, he'd be because he'd sort of be like the Zidane of the team, I suppose.
Somehow he'd be like the Zidane of the team, and nobody quite gets that sentence. Fine.
Because he's got vision for miles, but he probably won't be able to do any of it. But he knew what he was thinking of. What one I had was Jesus, because he was a good. Yeah. He's like he'd kind of be like a scrappy like fullback probably, and just be like he'd sort of get involved in everything, and he'd be everywhere when you need him.
The sort of person that if he trained a bit harder, he could have made it, but he didn't, and so he's just enjoying himself.
Yeah, definitely has a headband.
Yeah. A bit like Socrates, actually.
Yeah, like that.
Yeah, why not? Let's not dispute. Let's just move on from that.
Well, obviously, we mentioned Carol. I was kind of thinking Alpha and Beta from like the most recent series, but I don't know. I'm just not attached to the new series as much. I don't like it as much now. I feel like it's not that much happens, and it's dragged out, and the stories aren't as interesting. So I'd feel wrong putting them in forcibly.
Yeah, it's not got me in the same way either. I mean, also like Sasha was a pretty good TV only character, I thought. Yeah. Rosita, another like good strong female character, really grew into it. Dwight, even, to be honest, Dwight was an outside shot. I think
Dwight had a massive like character change as it went along.
And you got all sorts. I mean, even Tara, you could give a little nod to Tara.
I was also thinking maybe like Simon, because he came in when Negan and Dwight did, and he was just brutal. I don't think he'd be much use, but he was like a proper kind of psycho. I think because I think he ended up getting. I'm pretty sure Negan strangled him in front of everyone to prove a point, but he was trying to revolt against him, because he was played by Simon Ogg, who does the voice of Trevor in GTA.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and they pretty much edited him so he looks a bit more like rugged, but it's pretty much just him. And the more you look at him, you're like, oh yeah, that's Trevor from GTA. But he's just the same character in that, really.
Nice. Have we a team name? I've got one.
I've got one, and I've got one stadium name as well. On the off chance we've got the same one, do you want to go first?
Crew Alexandria.
That's really clever. I hadn't thought of that. That's very clever.
Thanks.
I had both of them actually based on if you know the last names of each of players. For team name, I've got Herschel Green Rovers. Because apparently he's Herschel Green, which I don't know if I knew that. And for stadium, I've got apparently Michonne was called Michonne Hawthorne, so I'll put the Michonne Hawthorns.
Oh, lovely!
But I think Crew Alexandria. There's no beating that.
Thanks. I mean, I'll take that. I do like Crew Alexandria.
That has to be it.
Crew Alexandria line up the Michonne Hawthorns in a 5-3-2. Manager Herschel Green and Dale Horvath have sent out Negan in goal, with Tyrese, Daryl Dixon, and Merle Dixon at center back. Wingback positions are Abraham Ford and Glenn Rhee. In midfield is Shane Walsh with Maggie Rhee. Michonne sits just behind the strikers Rick Grimes and Kenny